Hello and welcome back to another video. This is the part 2 of my Rainbow Reading Challenge. So if you click this video and you haven't seen part 1, please go watch part 1 and then come back to this one because you're missing out on, unless your favorite colors are green, blue, and purple and you wanted to skip out on me reading red, orange, and yellow, okay. But I am questioning why you're skipping to the second part when you haven't watched the first part. So go please watch the first part, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed that part. And if you have watched that part and are now watching part 2, thank you for joining us in this video. So we're starting off with green, and if you did watch part 1, you would know that I started that video out wearing a red shirt. Ironically, I did not mean to wear a red shirt, it just ended up happening that day. So I chose, unironically, to, on purpose, I chose on purpose to wear a green shirt today. Because we're starting this video off with green, which is my second favorite color. My first favorite color is blue, so when we get to blue, we get to blue. And I'm super excited about that. So I actually was torn between two books for this video. I was torn between either Siege and Storm, which is the second book in the in the Grishaverse, but also the second book of the Shadow and Bone trilogy. I'm gonna tell you right now, I did not pick this because I did just read a fantasy, and my next book is a fantasy. So please comment down below. I'd love for you guys to try and guess what blue covered fantasy book I'll be reading next. Although by the time this video comes out, if you follow me on Goodreads or Fable, you'll probably know. You'll probably know what book I read. But, you know, if you didn't, comment down below what book you think blue fantasy book I'm going to be reading. So I chose The Summer I Turned Pretty by Jenny Han. This is the first book in the Summer I Turned Pretty trilogy, and yes, I have read a Jenny Han book before. I've read the first two books in the To All the Boys I Loved Before trilogy. And I'm actually really excited for this one because this is probably the only book in these part 1 and part 2's this series that I'm doing. I guess it's only gonna be 2 parts. That other than Samara's Peril and the last book I'll be reading, because they are continuations in a series, this is the only book that I actually know somewhat about because it's so popular, and because of the show. I hear things. I'm not gonna watch the show, by the way, so don't get your hopes up on that. I just know a decent amount about the book, which I don't tend to do. If you've been watching my channel for a while, I like going into books blind, which is what I did with some books, and I ended up DNFing one. I didn't went completely blind into it, but I went a little too blind for my liking. That's in part 1, so go watch part 1 if you want to know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so I will be reading The Summer I Turned Pretty in the summer, which is kind of funny to me, because I don't tend to read oh, this book has great summer, this is this great summer book, read it in the summer. I would probably pick this up in the fall. Or winter. I pick it up in the winter too. I really don't have any care in the world of when I pick up a book, whether it's a summer book or a book you'd feel more like it would fit in another season. I will read it kind of whenever. So I'm actually reading a summer read in the summer. So let's go. Let's dive into Cousins Beach, as I'm pretty sure where this takes place. So let's dive into Cousins Beach. Alright, so I am now about 40% of the way through The Summer I Turned Pretty. What I love a lot about Jenny Han's writing is, I felt this a lot when I was reading To All the Boys I Loved Before and P.S. I Still Love You, is she kind of writes almost how you think, if that makes sense. Other than when Belly's talking to people, but her inner monologue is almost written how a person thinks. It's written oh yeah, this sounds like just a train of thought. It doesn't sound like exposition or whatever. It reads like someone's train of thought, and I think that's a really cool writing choice. I loved Laura Jean's, how she thinks as well. It kind of helps you really get inside a person's head when it's written, and how you're oh, this, I could totally picture someone thinking like this, or this is how their thought process goes. I also love how the chapters sometimes switch from present day to summer's past, because it kind of gives a bit more backstory to the characters and to their personalities, so that's really cool. And I do think that I'm enjoying it. I'm eating it up. I'm enjoying it. So, yeah, I've realized that I do really like Jenny Han's writing, and I definitely want to read more of her books after this. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about the boys just yet. I think they're both interesting characters. They're both complete opposites, which I think was kind of the point. Was that they were complete opposites. Most of the time when there's a love triangle in a book, the guys are complete opposites. They don't relate in much ways. I'm just wondering how well this love triangle will be done, because I know it is a love triangle. Because there's only so many times I've like read a love triangle and I'm like, this was done right, because I didn't know who to root for. That's a good love triangle, is when you don't know who to root for. You're like, I feel like I could see Belly with either. I don't, obviously, I'm just saying in general, like, I feel like you could see the female main character with either option. That's how you know it's a good love triangle, because you feel equally towards, you're like, okay, I could see her with either one. There have only been, I feel like, 2 love triangles. Well, no. You kind of can tell who they're in. There's a lot of love triangles where you just can tell who the end game is, and you're rooting for said end game because you know they're the end game, or you're rooting for the other one because you're holding out hope. And from what I'm getting at, I feel like Conrad's going to be the end game no matter what. That's just what I'm only 40% of the way through this book, and I'm assuming he's going to be the end game. It's just the way she thinks about him and the way that he's been with her. It feels very like, yeah, he's the end game. He's the end goal of this love triangle. But who knows? Maybe Jeremiah might surprise me. Maybe he might pull ahead in this race. But as of right now, I don't know how well this love triangle will be written. Again, it is a trilogy, so it may get better as the books go on. Yeah, but I feel like if you're writing a love triangle, if you're a writer and you're writing a love triangle, make sure that you have like kind of equal, the guys are equal. You don't want to show your bias as a writer, writing one guy more predominantly like this is who she's interested in instead of this one. If you're writing a love triangle, it's got to be even. She's got to like both boys almost equally, which is what makes it hard for her to pick. And then something happens down the line that makes her like realize, oh, this is the one that's for me and this one isn't. That's kind of how a love triangle should work, is that the reader should be just as confused as the female main character is on who she's picking. It shouldn't be dead obvious, like, oh, yeah, you're picking this one. Okay, hurry up, wrap this up, you're picking this one. That's how I felt when I was reading P.S. I Still Love You, because that one felt like it was supposed to be a love triangle in that. I don't think she was really coming across with that, but it could have been. I feel like, but it was like, you're ending up with Peter. There's not, as much as I don't like Peter, you're ending up with him anyways. So yeah, I'm 40%, 41, 42% of the way through the book, and I'm enjoying it. I'm probably going to finish it today and then move on to Blue. And if you haven't commented down below what you think my fantasy Blue book's going to be, please comment down below and check that out. Or not check that out. Let me know what you think it is. I'm very curious to hear what your guesses were for what Blue book I will be reading. But yeah, I'm enjoying Cousins Beach. The aesthetic is great. Again, really love the inner monologue writing style of it being it feels like I'm just in her head, and it's great. But yeah, gonna go back to reading. See you guys in a bit. Finished. This was such a good palate cleanser book for in between the fantasies I'll be reading, because Blue is a fantasy. Hopefully you guys have commented down your guesses now, because I will be telling you what Blue is in a little bit. So I enjoyed this. It was cute. It had very summery vibes, but the funny part about, like, I was, again, 40% of the way through. No, I started 10% of the way through it today and finished it because I couldn't put it down. I just couldn't put it down, and that means I'm not in a book slump, thank goodness. I was worried I was worried. You always worry that you're gonna fall into a book slump when you read so many books in a row, I always worry that I'm gonna get burnt out, but I'm not. This really helped out, and so did Samara's Peril. The funny thing about reading this summer book, though, is it's raining. It's downpouring right now. So, I was like, not the best aesthetic for reading a summer book, but, you know, what reader doesn't like reading in the rain? I do. I actually, not in the rain, but, like, when it's raining. Obviously, I don't want to read in the rain. That would be cold and wet. But I did enjoy it. I'm going to give it 3.75 stars. 3.75 stars. It's not quite a 4-star for me. It's very close, but not quite. There were points where I was like, okay. It does remind me a lot of, obviously, To All the Boys I Loved Before. I can't even remember what I rated that one. I know I rated it something, but I can't remember now. Probably, did I rate that? I may have rated that 4 stars. I'm not gonna lie, I do like Laura Jean as a main female character better than I like Belly right now. Because Belly, at points, came across to me as somewhat selfish and, like, kind of almost oblivious. Almost oblivious in a sense. Where I'm just like, girl, realize that there's bigger things going on right now than you. That's how I felt at some moments. So I can't wait to read the next 2 books, though. I'm excited about that. But yeah, so this is done. 3.75 stars. Liked it. It wasn't amazing. It wasn't horrible. I definitely enjoyed it. It just kind of, it was okay. There were parts of it that could have been better. Now, the next book I will be reading is an ebook, so I don't physically have it. And it is, I'll put it over here, or somewhere on the screen, Eragon. It's blue, so I've been wanting to read Eragon for a while, because I wouldn't say it's a crazy hyped up book, but I would say it's a popular, I can't even pronounce the author's name. So it will be on the book, though. So you guys just try and decipher that on your own. So yes, my blue book is Eragon. I was torn between doing Eragon or Order of the Phoenix. Haven't thrown a reread in here. But yeah, I decided to do Eragon. I'm like, you know what? I really want to read Eragon. And I want to dive into that world a little bit. Because people say it's pretty good. I mean, I've read some decent reviews about it. I think it'll be interesting. You know, diving into, it's a very popular fantasy series, with apparently a not so great movie adaptation, but hey, I read Percy Jackson after I'd watched those movies. I've never seen the Eragon movie, by the way. So, we're gonna read the books first this time. We're gonna do it right this time, and then maybe watch the movie after, just to, you know, get my own opinion on it. But yeah, I'm excited to be picking this up. Yeah, I'm just gonna put it here. Picking this up, and I got it off of Libby, so I'll be reading it on my phone. Until I can get it on my Kindle. It's a whole process. If you ever have Libby and you're trying to transfer it over to your Kindle, it's a process. But yeah, I'll figure that out. So I'll be reading it on my phone for now. So if you don't see me holding something, it's because I'm filming on said thing that I'm reading on. But yeah, so we're getting into blue territory now, and also this book's like 500 pages. So that's only like maybe 30 something pages less than Samara's Peril was, but I don't know. I'm can't wait to pick it up because I'm excited. I'm nervous excited because I don't think I've ever read anything in this area of fantasy. Is it considered an epic fantasy? I don't know what it's I'm gonna need to check I know it's a fantasy. Duh, I'm not stupid, but I read enough fantasy to know what a fantasy is. But would it be considered an epic fantasy? Because I know that there are some epic like something like that. I'm gonna need to look that up. Or comment down below and let me know if you know if it's an epic fantasy or not. If you're an Eragon fan, like this video. If you're a Summer I Turned Pretty fan, like this video. Yeah, so we're diving into Blue Boy over here. And I actually wore blue because I knew I was going to finish this book today, so I wore blue. Let's go. I'm going to try and wear purple when I get to the purple book, but who knows? Who knows? yeah, so this is kind of a long introduction into Blue, but I'm excited, and I don't know how I feel, but hopefully I will enjoy this book, and hopefully I will have a new fantasy series to be obsessed with. Yeah, let's dive in to Eragon. So, I am 41% of the way through Eragon, and I'm soft DNFing it. So, I am liking this book. I just have no urge to pick it up and read it, which lets me know that I'm not in, like, I don't know if I'm just not in the right headspace to read this right now. I'm just kind of about it. I don't hate it. Like, it's not like I'm not reading this book ever again. I'm soft DNFing it, which means I am putting it down for right now and will read it in the foreseeable future. Like, I'll pick it back up again in the foreseeable future. I'm like, how do I explain this book? Because again, I'm 41% of the way through it. It's a decent amount of way through the book, and I'm liking it. It feels like an somewhat easier to read Tolkien, like somewhat easier to read Hobbit. But it's just, I don't think I'm in the headspace. I'm saying that when my next book's a fantasy book, but I don't really feel like I'm in the headspace right now to read it's so similar to Tolkien. The writing is not to the extent of how difficult Tolkien is, his writing is to understand and to read, but it is close, and there's a lot of exposition, there's a lot of descriptions that are wordy, there's a lot of just, when I'm sitting down to read it, I'm bored. I think that's where I'm at right now, is like, I need a book that's gonna pick up and really get me excited and like, whoa, I can't put this down right now, because especially after The Summer I Turned Pretty, like the fact that I read that in a day and a half, and then this one's just really slow. And it's not that I'm not liking it. I am liking the writing style of it. I'm liking the characters. I do like Eragon as a character and his journey. It's just slow for me right now, and I need a faster paced book for where I'm at in my reading mood right now. I'm in more of a faster paced, maybe a little bit more higher stakes read, because Eragon at the beginning, I'm sure it gets really high stakes near the end, but right now here at the beginning, it feels so low stakes. I'm like, I know that you're gonna pick up, but I don't have the urge or interest to get to that point right now. And also, I think the version of, I borrowed it on Libby, so I think the book version I borrowed it says it's 900 pages long. That may also be playing into my head of like, this is crazy long, and I just have no urge to pick it up because it's not getting me excited to read it. But when I do like almost like force myself to sit down and pick it up and read it, I'm into it. I'm like, I would be more into this, more excited to pick this up at a different time. I need a more fast-paced fantasy, a more what's going on fantasy, or what's going on book, to be honest, even though I know my next book's a fantasy. So we're soft DNFing Eragon, and I feel so bad about saying that, but it's not because I don't like it. I'm soft DNFing it because it's not the type of book I need right now. I will definitely pick up Eragon again in a future point. I just right now it's not what I'm in the mood for right now. I need a fast-paced, or at least somewhat high-stakes book. So, that being said, I will be moving on to our purple book, which I feel like people could kind of guess what it is, but if you can't, it's The Ballad of Never After by Stephanie Garber. It is purple. I know that there are covers out there that are more purple than this, but it's the only kind of purple book I have that I haven't already read that I was like, oh, I want to pick this up. So, and also, this is everyone's favorite of the trilogy of Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy, so I'm really excited. And I know, even though this is probably way short, it's 414 pages. That is like less than half that Eragon is. So the version of it I have, the edition of it I have on Libby. So I'll be diving back into the world of Stephanie Garber's world, and I'm actually really excited about it because I have been wanting to read this book, and I think this one's gonna be more quick paced than Eragon is because it is the second book in the series, in the trilogy, so it'll have more. I feel like now, that being said, where's Caraval? It's right over here. I didn't really love Legendary, but since this is most likely following the same character, please be following the same character. I'm assuming it's following the same character. Yes. Yes, it is. Actually, this one I feel like is gonna be, this is the book I need right now. This is the possibly get me out of a reading rut. Not a slump, a rut, like a little divot in the ground. Like where I'm like, ugh, Eragon kind of just, this is not the book I needed right now. After The Summer I Turned Pretty, I needed another higher, faster, high stakes, faster book. Ignore the yelling in the background. So yeah, we'll be diving into this and Be Softy and Nothing Eragon. So let's dive back into the wonderful world that Stephanie Garber has created. Hello, and I am here for an update of The Ballad of Never After. I am now 60% of the way through this, and I was going to do an update before now, but I got caught up. This book is twists and turns and more twists and more crazy stuff, and I'm only 60% of the way through, and I don't know how this is going to end. Because I remember when this one came out, people kind of assumed that Once Upon a Broken Heart was just going to be a duology and not a trilogy. It is a trilogy. A Curse for True Love is the next book. So The Ballad of Never After, people thought it was just ending here, and the ending was crazy from what I heard. Which so far, it's crazy. It's crazy. And I love Stephanie Garber's writing. I don't know if I've talked about this before in any of my other reading vlogs of her books. I think the only other one I have is Finale. I think is the only other like dedicated I guess I have my Once Upon a Broken Heart one too. So if you want to go check those out, they'll be they're on my channel. I don't know if I'll be able to link them below or not, but they are great, I think. I don't know, I've never actually watched them back after I posted them. So one of my favorite things about Stephanie Garber's writing is her uses of imagery, similes, and metaphors, because it makes the reading, so I'm one of the readers, because I know there's some of you out there, that I actually see a movie going on in my head as I'm reading. I picture everything. It's not just words on a page, it's like a whole drive-in theater going on over here. So when she writes very, I would say flowery. So if you're not much of a flowery, like dialogue, not really dialogue, but descriptions person, then you probably wouldn't like her writing as much because it is very flowery, but also just uniquely descriptive. I need to, okay, hold up. I'm actually going to find one of the ones that made me think about this. It was like way before this. I really need to flip. Okay, it was before part 2, so these are separate. All of her books are kind of separate into parts, so it was before part 2. No, not here. Nope, before this. No, before this. Okay, here it is. Jeez, that took forever. The following week dripped by slowly, like melting candle wax. That's simile, just that. They're in general. Yeah, now I like the week dripped by slowly, like melting candle wax. I would have never compared a slow week to dripping candle wax. To melting candle wax. But if you've ever lit a candle, like you can have candles for literal years and they may never run out unless you light them consistently for a long period of time, which some people probably do. I don't know. I don't light a whole lot of candles. But what I'm saying is that candles take forever to burn out. If it's like a decent sized candle, it takes forever to burn out. Even if you light it consistently. Like we had a candle, I don't know if we still have it anymore, but that we had for literal years and it still hadn't burnt out. It was getting low, but we'd had it for years. So it's kind of that mentality of like, okay, now that once I read that sentence, I started picturing a melting candle and how slowly those things melt over time. So it kind of added to the like, oh, this must have been a really, instead of saying like the week went by slowly, she added something to it. She added a little bit more, I want to say oomph to the sentence, where it didn't just be like, oh, the week went by slowly. Okay, to add that simile of like melting candle wax kind of makes you think of like, oh, it went by like really slowly, and able to kind of give a picture to the reader of how slowly it went. And that's something I love a lot about her writing, is just the imagery that you get, because she's very descriptive and very flowery, and I'm not a huge flowery language fan, but I do love it in hers. And that also reminds me of, in Caraval, she would describe people's emotions as colors because it was written in Scarlett's perspective, which you find out why she described emotions like colors in that book later on. But it was such an interesting thing to me. I'm like, this is really cool. I really like how these, like, she described sadness and anger as like these raging reds or deep blues. Like, it just like kind of like, oh, it gives just an extra added imagination to it, to where I'm not just like, oh, this person's angry. No, they were giving off vibes of whatever. Like, she really does a great job with show don't tell, or when she does tell, I kind of like how she was saying like, oh, the week dripped by slowly. Like she's telling you the week went by slowly, but in a more interesting and unique way. That's one of my favorite things about Stephanie Garber's writing. Another is just her characters. Her characters are great. I love the minor characters, like the side characters that are in her books are great. And honestly, Evangeline is pretty good. Pretty good character. She reminds me a little bit of Tella in a sense, but I'm not saying she's not smart. She's a pretty smart character, but there are times where I feel that Evangeline is too trusting. She's too trusting. She believes the good in people even when there's no good to see, which can be a good trait to an extent. To an extent, like, trusting can be a fatal flaw. If you trust everyone you ever meet, then you're gonna trust people who you shouldn't. And she kind of tends to fall into that a lot with Jax. You cannot trust Jax. One, I'll get to my love-hate relationship with Jax in a minute. But she continually is trusting these people that if I was her best friend in this book, I'd be like, girl, don't trust. What is wrong with you? Next said that these people are not to be trusted. They are fates, or they're vampires, or they're, spoiler if you haven't read the books, there are vampires. It's really interesting. These people shouldn't be trusted, okay? Now, there's a lot of people here who shouldn't be trusted. Let me be honest. You're kind of surrounded by untrustworthy people. But still. And on to my love-hate relationship with Jax. We meet Jax for the first time in Legendary in the Caraval trilogy. And he carries on into Finale, and then he has kind of it's kind of like his spin-off. Is this trilogy is kind of his spin-off, because he's the only character from the original trilogy of Caraval that comes back in this and is in it consistently. Because you get to see some of the other characters off and on a little bit sporadically sprinkled throughout there, but he's the only one that's consistent. Like, he's in every book. He's in this book, and I'm sure he's gonna be in the third one too. Again, I have a love-hate relationship with this character, because on one end, he's hilarious. On one end, he's just like, yeah, okay. If you've ever read The Cruel Prince, and you know Cardan, he's a ruthless, like, actually more ruthless version of Cardan. Because Cardan says, in The Cruel Prince, not in the Cruel Prince book, but in that trilogy, in one of those books, I can't remember, it's like, I'm not a killer. I may be cruel, but I'm not a killer. That's where he draws the line. That's where Cardan draws the line. Except for when Jude's involved. But we're not going to talk about that. But Jax is a heartless Cardan. Basically, because Cardan has, like, that kind of, like, he hated Jude. So he would tease her, tear her down, be really mean to her. but he still had a heart. He ends up being a somewhat decent dude. A very unique character. 10 out of 10 recommend. He's a very interesting character. But Jax is heartless. Not literally. He has a heart. It just doesn't beat. Because there's a whole bunch of lore that goes with Jax's character, but long story short, he's a very ruthless, but he's so funny. There are times where I'm just like laughing. Like, I'm like, why am I shouldn't be laughing at this. I shouldn't be laughing at this, but I'm laughing at it because I find it funny. I shouldn't be, but I find it funny. And I love Evangeline and Jax's relationship. One, even though I would strongly advise Evangeline not to trust Jax, I wouldn't even say relationship, their dynamic is really interesting because she's extremely trusting and he's extremely reckless. Like, those are kind of their fatal flaws. I guess reckless is a bad flaw anyways, to be reckless, but it's just so interesting to have these two very different characters. Evangeline, she's very sweet. She doesn't really want to hurt anybody. She's very trusting of people. She always is. She's like a glass half full person. She always is looking for the good in others, which is a great character to an extent. Again, there's a fine line, or even really a blurred line between a good characteristic and a fatal flaw. An example of a fatal flaw is, if you've ever read Percy Jackson, you'll know what I'm talking about. Percy's fatal flaw is loyalty. He is loyal, not to a fault. He is loyal till death. Not saying that he dies. But he is loyal. He will be loyal forever. He will never betray you. Once you earn his trust and his loyalty, he's there for you no matter what. And it's not to a fault. Because there's always, like, your loyalty to a fault. I'm like, okay, I'm going to be loyal until you do something like this. And I'm like, oh, I probably shouldn't be loyal to you. And same like with being trusting. You should be trusting to a fault. You can't trust every single person that crosses your path, because not every person is a genuinely good person. And that's something that Evangeline really does discover in this book, is that not everyone is a good person. Not everyone should be trusted equally. You should hold some things back from some people. You should put up some guards. You shouldn't be so trusting with people. And I think she does learn that, because again, I'm 60% of the way through. I feel like she has learned that, at least a little bit of it in this book, and maybe she'll learn more about it in the third book. I have no idea what that one's about. But I am really enjoying this, and just their dynamic and their banter is great. It's not the best banter I've ever read. I feel like Kite and Payton kind of have that one out, but from Powerless, their banter's amazing. I do want to go back and annotate those, if I ever reread them, which I definitely will at some point. I definitely want to go back and annotate them. 100% want to annotate them. Specifically Powerless, because there's so much good banter in that. But that's not the book we're talking about. We're talking about this. I am enjoying it. I do think this may get a higher rating from me than Once Upon a Broken Heart, because in Once Upon a Broken Heart, I got annoyed at Evangeline because of how trusting she is and how naive she was. In this, she has been through so much from the first book that she's not so naive, and she knows a bit more about the world around her. Not everything, but a bit more. So I'm really enjoying her character arc that's starting in this book, and hopefully will carry on into the next one. But yeah, so I'm gonna keep reading and hopefully get back to you tonight, or tomorrow morning maybe, and be done with this, so that I can, not in a bad way, but I really want to know how this ends. So I'm going to keep reading, and I'll see you all in the next clip. Alright, sorry, I need to grab the book. I finished reading The Ballad of Never After by Stephanie Garber, my purple book. So this is the last clip of the video. You made it this far, please like this video, and comment if you have any video ideas for me, if you want me to do any other videos like this. Please let me know if you enjoyed it too. And yeah, so to the review of this book, I reviewed it on Fable, so I'm on Fable, Goodreads, Instagram, so if you want to find me, it's the same username as I have on YouTube, just my name that's on here. So this book, I understand now, like I think it's at the beginning when I was talking about it, the first clip, that this book was originally thought to, this series of Once Upon a Broken Heart was originally thought to just be a duology and not a trilogy. It is a trilogy. There is a third book. But people thought it was just ending here. And anytime I watched reviews of this book when it first came out before the third book, and everybody's like, how could this end this way? How can this be the end? I totally agree with them. The ending of this was crazy. Crazy. I also think I actually have bonus content included in this one, so I may have gotten a little extra stuff than maybe the original book, but it's so stinking good. Oh, I loved this book so much. I gave it 5 stars. And that's actually, I think, this is my first Stephanie Garber book that I gave 5 stars. I love the other ones, but none of them really made me freak out like this book did. I got 5-star feels. This is a 5-star book. I loved every second of it. I do want to say the beginning is, I would say, pretty slow, but the ending is worth it. The ending saves all the slowness at the beginning, because again, it's building up plot, building up suspense. Also, the amount of backstory and lore that was dropped in this book is crazy. You find out so much stuff in this book. I don't want to say what any of it is because I don't want to spoil the book, but you find out so much stuff that I'm just like still trying to process. 24 hours later, I finished this Sunday night, which is last night, so probably less than 24 hours later, I'm still trying to process this. I'm still trying to process it because it's a lot. And not like a lot where it's like, oh my word, I don't understand any of it. I understand all of it. It's just, huh? Like almost like a jaw drop, like shock, wait, what type situation? Not, this doesn't make sense situation. It's a wait, what situation. And, oh man, so I said in the last clip, I have a love-hate relationship with Jax. I still do have a love-hate relationship with him, but I think it's leaning more towards love him because of this book. The ending of this, oh, it hurts. It hurts a little. It hurts a little on the inside. Because I know that when I pick, this book is gonna wreck me. This one, the ending of this did, but this whole book, what happens in this book is going to be insane because of what the ending was. Now, a lot of people say this isn't their favorite one. Also, it's a lot smaller than the others. Like, the length of these are different. Like, this one's thicker. This purple one. But, wow. Just wow. Jax, he's redeemed himself a little bit. Due to the ending of this book, he has been redeemed just a smidge. Just a smidge. I still don't know if I truly like him or not. So this is a pillow for me to like sit on or like lean on, so it's more comfortable because I do lean back on these a lot. And oh my word, I just 5 stars, people, 5 stars. I loved their Evangeline and Jax dynamic in this book was great because you get more of their dynamic, and Evangeline definitely grows, like I said in the earlier clip. Through this book. I mean, there are a few things that I'm like, you just didn't learn your lesson with this, did you? But even then, like, she does eventually realize things and learn things, and she's such a great character, to be completely honest. I actually do really enjoy her character. Now, the first book I was iffy on her character because I didn't know if I liked her or not. This one definitely redeemed her character for me. So, huge plus there. And, yeah. So, a quick recap. I'll put the books on the screen. This video started out with The Summer I Turned Pretty, which I don't remember what rating I gave that. But you guys probably saw it just like a couple minutes ago because it's been a couple days for me. And then A Soft Enough of Aragon. I definitely want to get back to that book at some point. I just had no urge to pick it up at the time. Enjoyed it when I did pick it up, but yeah, it was long. And then finished with a 5-star of Ballad of Never After. The Ballad of Never After. Oh, it's so good. And now I totally understand the title of this. so all the titles are actually starting to make sense to me now. Like A Ballad of Never After, The Ballad of Never After, it makes sense now because I've read the book. That actually hits a little differently. I may be may just be thinking myself, but honestly, this was so good. 10 out of 10 recommend the series. I do, yeah, I think that's it. I think those are all my thoughts. If you want more in-depth thoughts, you can go check my Fable because I actually reviewed it on there. Not like the actual like review, but like my other thoughts on plot and whatever. You get to go check that out on there. And yeah, so this is the end of this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. Again, please like and subscribe and comment if you'd like to, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!